Yeah. All right.
That was not
5,
canon.
4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Peter! Peter, what's wrong? Peter, are you all right?
Can you breathe?
Peter, what are you doing, man?
Hello, welcome to the worst movie ever made, an experiment of the movie podcast designed with one thing in mind, to find the best movie ever made. I'm your host, Chris Hockman. I'm joined by my co-host and fellow mad scientist, Rob Scucci and Bob Hassick. Hey guys, how are you, and why are we doing Hereditary? Can't wait to hear this.
Because apparently it's like the pinnacle of elevated horror, Chris.
I didn't choose this!
I chose it because I've always wanted to see it. And I was better off like having the image of what I thought it was in my head than what it was. Make no mistake, brilliantly acted, great cinematography, great lighting, great sound design, great film score, superbly acted. I didn't like the screenplay, and I'm going to pick it apart because I felt like it was patronizing and like a just a little too pretentious. And without further ado, we could get into describing it. How are you, Bob? And would you like to talk about Hereditary, the most mid horror movie I've seen in about 5 years?
I did. I do, but I do want to say the opening clip is like my favorite scene in the whole movie. Like that got me the first time I saw it. I'm like, that got me. So good. He's so good.
He was all sweaty and like dewy, like you know when you're like hungover during like a business meeting and like you're pushing your tongue to the roof of your mouth and you feel like yourself perspiring because you're trying to throw up on your boss.
Yes,
and that's the kind of feeling he captured in his face. That
was great.
That face on his face.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
no more foreshadowing. That's Hereditary.
Bob, what are you doing over there?
Name of the game.
Explain yourself. And while you're at it, explain the movie.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to break rules here. This is not going to be a succinct description of the movie because it is not a simple storyline.
Yeah.
All right, the alliteration, though. Dude decapitates dad's daughter and is damned to don a demonic deity derby.
Damned to don a demonic what?
Deity derby. You know, a hat for a god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
Dad's daughter was, a way of saying sister. Anyway, the main character, Annie, her mom dies.
Yeah.
And her mom has lived a very secretive life away from Annie, except since the birth of the youngest, a girl named Charlie, who grandma wished was a boy, and helped care for her. Anyhow, now that grandma's dead, weird things start happening, and at the apex of weird, Charlie gets decapitated by a telephone pole because her brother was distracted by a dead deer in the road and swerved toward said pole. Mm-hmm. By the time he gets home, Annie freaks. Her husband does his best to help everyone stay calm. Peter, the brother who was driving, is a complete mess, but not as much as the mom. He continues school. Dad returns to work. Mom goes on with her miniatures and group therapy. And the strangeness that follows can only be described as an occult's call to action if demons and devilish beings actually existed.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Solid.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. I feel like I understand this movie well enough to defend it, so I'm not going to do that yet. But I feel like
I didn't insult it. I just described it.
You know who doesn't understand it?
I don't think I need to yet.
You know who doesn't understand it? Me, apparently, according to the YouTube comment I pulled. So I want to.
Let's throw it to the best YouTube comment then.
Yeah. This YouTube comment makes me wanna. Oh, it makes me wanna. Oh my god, it makes me wanna.
I feel like those people who don't get why this movie is one of the scariest and best horror movies of modern cinema aren't at the same level of wavelength as those who get it. The eerie, dreadful uneasiness and depressing depictions throughout the whole movie was something I haven't seen in a long time. Not at one point in the movie was there any sense of happiness. Nothing but guilt. Scenes were disturbing, from the sounds in the background to the strange movements of the character. Not only that, the reactions of each character to their inexplicable and terrifying environment was so realistic. For example, the still shot of Peter sitting in his car after the accident, too traumatized to move, was incredible. The slow pans, the still and silent shots, the amazing cinematography of this film was perfect and captured the moments in the best way. 10 out of 10.
And then every response to that was saying, like, people just like jump scares. They rather have a movie thrust upon them than having to think about the discomfort. I understood the movie. I understood every implication of every little thing. I may have missed a couple because I only watched it once, but I didn't care for it because I felt like Ari Aster undermined his own premise by foreshadowing excessively. You knew everything that was going to come, and it's such a unique premise, you shouldn't have that feeling when you're going into a movie. So that's my defense of that comment.
All right. Well, this is where we start down two separate paths, Rob. Because
Yes.
I thought the foreshadowing.
Man,
was
at the YouTube comments, we're gonna start debating. Okay.
I thought they did it. Listen. I thought they did a tasteful job of foreshadowing. They gave you enough to know that something wasn't right from the jump. And I'll get into it more, but I don't think they forced the foreshadowing down your throat. I think just once you've seen it, you remember, because it left a big impression on you the first time. You watch it again and you remember what's going to happen. And
this was my first time seeing it, Chris.
And this is also Ari Aster. This is also Ari Aster's first movie. I mean, give him a little bit of credit.
Yes,
you could tell.
Honestly. Oh, come on. Let's see what Rob does to it in test number 1. Ain't that a pitch?
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
My job sucks.
Well, I'm sold. That's a bitch.
Am I going first?
You're first.
I want you to.
All right. Clicky witchy daughter doesn't go well with nuts. Her brother inadvertently decapitates her. Golly gee willikers, what a klutz. Seance lady talks to the mother, who sees her dead mom among others. Thank God we saw it all coming because of Chekhov's fucking gun.
All right, fine. Very nice. Who's next? Me?
Yeah.
For an hour and a half, this movie was inspired, drawing all the emotions and vibes that it desired. The very end is regrettable, but the movie is unforgettable. It's the moat of minute mishaps where you misanthropes are mired.
Okay, that's pretty good. Point, counterpoint, I see.
All right. Mine is more descriptive and lazy. Here we go. There once was a girl with an attached head, whose grandma's death came with unmatched dread. Peter broke his own nose while Dad has inflammable clothes, and a piano wire is used to detach Mom's head.
These are all good in their own right, and we're not really
I know,
ranking
honestly.
them. So is that a team 5 just because it's such a great movie?
You know me, I love it.
Yes.
Okay.
Team 5.
It is,
What are we going to compare it to exactly? Midsummer? Anyway.
What was last season's good movie?
Memento?
Yes.
Yeah, Memento.
Yeah, all right, Memento might be better, but you know.
Yes.
Might be. Oh.
Let's throw.
Oh.
Now, I mean, let's throw it to test number 2. What works well?
Memento, played in chronological order, has less foreshadowing than Hereditary. What works well? Here we go.
Well, very obviously, we all agree that this movie is great, so here's what works so well about it. This is what works well.
Oh, nice.
Dickhead.
Nice. Oh, that was great.
Okay.
Great surprise.
Number.
Oh yeah. Different soundboard. Sorry. Number Bob
Sorry.
5. We need Bob 5. Here we go.
5.
unsettling scenes, surrealist style, and stomach-souring sound. All the things you need for an unsettling experience, done very well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Sound design was pretty flawless. Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Number
Cool.
4.
Oh, Rob, how about this? Unforced foreshadowing that informs and frightens. Right from the jump, Annie's at her mother's funeral, yeah? And she's talking about how her mother was withholding and mysterious. And then, I don't know if you guys got this, Rob, probably not, because you only saw this movie one time, but the clicky, what did you call her?
The clicky witchy daughter. Oh, the one that's eating chocolate throughout the entire movie because she's like, oh, we forgot the EpiPen. I hope there's not nuts in that. And then she eats nuts later. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, she like goes to see her grandma open casket, which by the way, I don't know. When you're, what was she, 13? I guess if you're 13.
She was 13.
You can do
yeah.
open casket, yeah. All right, fine. But she sees her grandma, and then she turns, and like there's just this like blonde-eyed haired guy in a suit like standing by the grandma, and he's like, like staring at her with a smile. I don't know if you got that, but he's definitely one of the occult members, and and Annie is talking about how many new friends there were at the funeral. You know.
Yeah.
And then you see
What was the word you used before foreshadowing? Did you say unforeseen or what did you say? You said unforced?
I said unforced.
No, it was forced.
No, come on, it wasn't that bad. We've had movies that are so much worse.
Chris, I'm gonna get into why later, why you think this is so good and why I think it's so bad. And I think for the same reasons, we have the same reasons for the different result. And
so the foreshadowing is forced. You didn't know where it was going, which I'll give the movie credit for that much. But it was so like something was up with that. Like there's a lot of good movies out there where
the problem with foreshadowing movies is that they foreshadow so hard that you can predict what's coming. That's the problem with foreshadowing.
That's with bad movies. There are a lot of good foreshadowing movies that it's subtle or it seems unassuming, and then later it comes into play. This was so like, why would a guy be smiling at a little girl at a funeral, especially if he didn't know?
But it's
no one else knew who he was.
It's a half a second, you know. Half a second.
It was so obvious.
This is going exactly how I planned. Thank you, guys.
So when you saw that, you were like, this handsome blonde man over here, he's an occult member that's gonna like.
No, but
what
I saw was that is weird.
Something.
He's probably up to something, and we'll probably get something about that later.
Anyone that gets screen time, there's a reason for anyone getting screen time. I mean, come on.
No, because her friend the friend who she met at the grief counseling thing, that wasn't as obvious. Like the second time I saw it, it was obvious, but the first time it wasn't as obvious. That was better. That was way better done.
Because the actress Dowd, what's her name?
Yeah.
Anyway, she's great. She does a wonderful job, and she's directed very well. But anyway, we'll get into that. I think we're only on number
3.
Here we go. How about that? Look at this transition right into this actress doing this thing in this. Wait, I think it is. Yeah, in this clip. Yeah. Number 3 is Seance.
Oh, hi. How are you? Oh, Annie. I'm okay. I am. Yes, I'm really good. I'm really, really. Oh, okay. Something happened, Annie, and I feel completely turned around.
What happened?
I don't even know if I should say.
What do you mean?
You're gonna think I am crazy.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. All right, come on. I met a spiritual medium. They were performing an open seance. I know what you're thinking, but they asked me to attend. They were bringing skeptics in and scientists, so I went fully skeptical, And what I experienced there, Annie, was truly...
An open seance.
They brought in the spirit of a man from the 19th century. And no, not in a kind of smoke and mirrors way, no. And the man sitting next to me was a completely cynical neurologist. And he looked permanently changed by the end of it.
Okay, so here's what's wrong with that. She first meets her at the grief meeting that she doesn't attend. The lady comes out to the car and introduces herself, right? And then by happenstance at the craft store where Annie didn't tell anybody she was going, the lady's waiting out like the high school crush from a rom-com who like studies the girl's schedule and like follows her to the place. It's like, oh, you're into crafts too? So am I. And then she gives the rundown on a seance and how her neurologist husband became a believer. She's playing into all of Annie's apprehensions because her husband's a therapist who has similar apprehensions. She plays into every insecurity. Like, oh, well, that's not going to come into play later, is it? Weird seance lady approaching you out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, she that wasn't their second meeting though, because she went and had tea at her house and like poured her soul out to her. So she felt more bonded to her. And then she sees her in the parking lot.
Okay, so that was the third meeting, but
yeah, but they like at least we don't know, but like, and we heard their conversation over tea where the mom is like giving her the tea, so to speak, on when she almost lit her kids on fire.
Yeah,
and like she was really pouring her heart and soul out. So like they had bonded big time, which was Joni's, But Joni knew who she was. Joni already knew that she almost lit her kids on fire. Like anyway. Give it some more credit, Rob, would you?
No.
The reason I have this clip is because it is that scene is a little tropey in that it's the cult. There's nothing you can do about it. When you want to have a seance in your movie, people are going to roll their eyes, right? I mean, because how many times has this been done? But Joni pulling her arm in every time she knew that Annie was getting like associating with the conversation because she doesn't want to be
involved
around someone who's like doing seances and shit because she's crazy. Tony like pulls her in and like refocuses her and is like, I know it sounds crazy. No, listen to me. She's doing she's doing a great job being the cult leader that she is without Annie knowing that. And the direction is amazing in that scene, I thought. And I thought it aged really well, even though we're all rolling our eyes at anything seance because we're all sick of it. Okay?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Superbly acted.
I get it.
I've said that before, I'll say it again.
Yes. And directed. Okay, you naysayers? Let's go to number 2. This is unbelievable. Undeserved decapitation of dad's daughter. So, I mean, we kind of already talked about this, but what I'm really talking about is how impactful that scene was on me. I think everybody who saw this movie for the first time around 2018 when it came out, there was like a whole social thing around the daughter getting decapitated. It's not really like it was a big deal to have that in like a box office film,
It's a quick moment that sticks with you.
Yeah,
it does, especially if you're a parent, of course.
Yeah,
because Annie's reaction to it. So,
very well.
We're definitely gonna. Yeah. I mean, the screams and cries are just like you feel like.
They're guttural.
It was like they had a real daughter offset and they like shot her in the head before rolling the tape, and they got like a genuine reaction.
That's how good Tony Collette is. Yes, I agree.
They just brought John Travolta in with his 3 waterlogged dogs.
Slapped them on a slab.
Yeah.
All right, let's throw it to number
1.
Well, I don't know if you guys agree, but Undetermined direction, daring you to define it. Define this movie. What is it? Is it horror? Is it mystery? Is it a cult? Is it creepy? What the fuck? What category is this movie? Horror?
Family trauma.
Yeah, I mean it's a kind of a niche genre.
Is it family drama, Bob, or is it family trauma?
I said trauma.
Oh, you did? Okay. Then I agree. Then I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
all right,
family
thanks
trauma.
guys for ruining that. All right, let's throw it to Rob's ad read.
Do we have a good bumper for ad read, or just use a classic one for that one, right?
Yeah, let's use the classic.
Yeah.
Payoffs and greed
Yeah.
were always the priority of my company. Like many companies.
Many companies.
I'm afraid of going to prison. They now know my crimes.
Speaking of greed, here's Rob's ad read.
I gotta rewatch that movie.
We're gonna miss you.
Yeah, me too.
We're gonna miss you.
From the creators of Regret and Indigestion comes a horror so twisted, so grotesque, it can only be experienced alone in the dead of night. You wake up, the hunger calls. Not the noble hunger of the righteous, but the cursed craving of the damned. Your body protests, your mind warns you, but your soul, your rotten, gluttonous soul demands tribute. The fridge, it hums, it knows. That hot dog has been waiting for you, aging like an eldritch wine, basking in the neon glow of expired condiments. It's not a meal, it's a reckoning. You could just go back to bed, but you won't. As you lift the bun, something scuttles in the darkness, a shadow or your conscience. No time for fear, no time for shame. Only time for one last bite before the sodium claims your soul. Hot dogs at 3 a.m. Rated R for regret, remorse, and reckless weenie consumption.
Regret.
Yeah, well, it's true. I put down my pen. I wrote quite a while ago, hot dogs at 3 a.m. Thank you so much, Hot Dogs at 3 a.m. for your sponsorship. I have it right here. Yeah, no, but this is the first feature-length film, yeah? From Hot Dogs at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
I mean, it just goes to show you that they're taking the world by storm, and I think that's because of our leadership in their marketing department. You know, you send your ads our way, we're just going to blow you up. I mean,
you gotta throw a lot of hot dogs at the wall before you see what sticks.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. You do. Yeah. Soak those buns, you know, Kobayashi style. And,
yeah.
Then throw them at the wall. All right, let's throw it to test number 3. This is the best dialogue.
Soak those buns.
Number 4.
Oh, Christ.
The best dialogue.
Buffington Buttwater.
Hmm.
All right. Number 5. This is Thinner.
Okay, I sleepwalk. I mean, I haven't done it in years, but a couple years ago, I woke up and I was standing next to Peter and Charlie's bed when they shared a room. And they were completely covered in paint thinner. And so was I, from head to toe. And I was standing there with a box of matches and an empty can of paint thinner. And I woke myself up striking the match, which also woke Peter up, and he started to scream. And I immediately put the match out. Like, immediately. I mean, I was just as shocked as he was. And it was impossible to convince them that it was just sleepwalking. Which, of course it was.
See, superbly acted. Here's why.
Yes.
Because she should not be a redeemable character after dropping that bomb on the audience. But she still is, because she's in earnest, and given what we know at this point, it probably was an outside force driving her to do that, to fulfill the prophecy that's revealed at the end. So, like, superbly acted.
Keyword
keyword
being probably, because we don't we don't really know. It's shrouded in mystery intentionally.
Yeah.
Well,
perfectly.
And I also forget, at this point, has she admitted the mental anguish of her family members? Like her brother was like a delusional psychotic or something like that.
Yeah, she did. Because she actually went to the WASP meetings.
That was the first meeting
meetings.
she went to.
Yeah,
and,
so
and that's how Tony
that almost makes it more sympathetic because she's dealing with family
so much.
mental. Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm with this scene. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and that's why I'm happy. Like they blurred the lines so well because she has a history.
Is
of
it mental health
illness
or
in
is
her
it a
family.
demonic entity? Yeah.
Demonic possession?
Yes.
Or is it? Yeah, or is she involved somehow? Which is but we don't. That's less likely, I guess. But anyway,
And that's
let's
the
throw it
thing.
to number.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Beth. No, please.
I was just gonna say that's my issue. Like, if it was ambiguous the whole time, bravo. If it was mental health the whole time, bravo. The fact that it was demonic possession at the end, big thumbs down.
Yeah, I can see that.
They did. They showed it's a classic movie problem, and I admitted the last bits of the movie are rough, but showing the monster ever often ruins the movie.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Number
4, yarg.
It's Joni.
Jesus.
Okay,
Fuck.
there's more.
What the fuck is that? Why didn't you call the police?
Oh, the police can't help us.
Who the fuck is that up
Do you remember Joan? My friend, her grandson died. She took me in her apartment.
there? It did look like your
No,
mother.
listen, she taught me how to do the seance. I didn't even want to, but she brought her grandson back, and I saw it and felt it just like you did with Charlie. Now look, this is my mother's album. Now look here. See this? See her? That's her. That's Joan. She didn't even mention knowing my mom, and I've never met her before, but she approached me. She consoled me. She told me about the seance, and she showed me how. Now look at this. See the symbol on the necklace my mom gave me? It's her necklace, right? They're both wearing it, and they're wearing it in every photo. And look at that pattern. Did you see up there? This was painted above the body, right? In blood.
You dug up the grave. It was you, wasn't it?
What?
All those nights you were pretending to go to the movies.
Not even listening.
And then the day the cemetery called, I said, oh, I won't tell her because she'd be worried.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little damning, the desecration of the grave, because we don't know why.
Yeah, but
just
time out though, because he said it hadn't when they called about the desecration, he's like, it hadn't been a week. And she was going to the movies long after the digging. So he got his timeline messed up, sir.
Well, I mean,
I'm just nitpicking.
If the screenplay was better, in my opinion, the emotion in that scene would have been better served with some cursed language, because he was revealing some pretty fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that she was just laying it out without any profanity was just unrealistic.
I like. Well, I mean, he threw out profanity in the jump, and he also said that. So she said that's Joan. She was my mother's friend, or what? And he thought that she meant up there without the head, and he was like, "She didn't look anything like your mother," and it's a throwaway line. Yeah. But it's another one of these situations where the dialogue is really well done because it is actual human situational dialogue.
Confusion.
Where, yeah, the guy, he was saying that because you might say that because he was stuck on the body, not in the pictures in the book.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also think that we should the demonic possession thing. Just want to defend it a little bit. Again, I know it's cheesy. Her mother had been involved in the occult her whole lifetime, as far as we know, and the problems with her brother and her father stemmed from her relationship with demonic possession. Yeah. So it's not.
We have to assume yes. We have to assume
right.
Yes.
So the fact that it becomes demonic possession later was interlaced the entire way. It's not it's not like when it becomes demonic possession, we're like, oh God, of course it's demonic possession. It's it's from before
it was
the
building
movie
up
started.
to it. Yeah.
30 years before the started like possession. It wasn't and that's why I thought it was super well done. Anyway, let's throw it to number 3. Stubborn.
It's heartening to see so many strange new faces here today. I know my mom would be very touched and probably a little suspicious to see this turn out. So. My mother was a very secretive and private woman. She had private rituals, private friends, private anxieties. It honestly feels like a betrayal just to be standing here talking about her. She was a very difficult woman to read. If you ever thought you knew what was going on with her, and God forbid you tried to confront that, but when her life was unpolluted, she could be the sweetest, warmest, most loving person in the world. She was also incredibly stubborn, which maybe explains me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give the movie a lot of credit here. From a early in the movie standpoint, if you are watching this from a lens of like I know fucked up family dynamics because I am in a family and all that kind of stuff, it plays really well because everyone's got that I shouldn't say everyone, most people have a relationship or know of one that is confusing like this one. Like, she was secretive but warm, but also difficult, but also, this and this. It really works well because you don't know where it's going yet. It's too early in the movie. So I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Funny, that's like the 6th or 7th thing you liked. Anyway,
I'm not counting because I know I'm gonna win them over.
Everybody wants to hate. That's human nature. We're
I wanted to like this, dude. I really I was so excited to watch this.
All right, this is Desecrated.
Yeah.
Nice dance.
Hello?
Tribal.
Yes. What does that mean? Desecrated. But it's only been a week. Yes, okay, yes. Sure. I understand. Yes. Why don't I call you back? Yes, goodbye.
Where was it?
It's billing.
Just some billing crap.
Okay. All right, so I bitch and moan every 4th episode about phone calls done wrong. That was a phone call done right. You never see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could if you were in the hallway with him, like the camera was, you would just be able to make out the police officer, I assume, on the other end, the chief of police, whoever he's talking to, and it had plenty of time to breathe. They weren't afraid that people were going to be bored because they give the low murmur, of the person on the other end, and all he had to say was the title of this clip, the word desecrated. The word desecrated tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, compared to
the whole story in one word.
Compared to Plan 9, where he's like, "What? Where?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, phone calls are always in the Gilmore Girl universe.
Yeah,
in movies, but not this one. This one was done the way that a phone call would actually be done, except for maybe on the very tail end when he's like, "I'll call you back," and the cop's just like, "Okay," and then they hang up. A little fast on the exit, like a 9.1 on the dismount, but really good phone call. All right, I'm going to throw it now to our best line of dialogue for the movie, in my opinion, and I know Rob already agrees. So
I love this fucking part. Yeah,
I think Bob's enjoyed every bit of dialogue so far, but I'm not too sure. This is number
1, Daddy.
You know what? Fuck it.
This is Release Me.
Sneer at me? Sneer at you? I don't ever sneer at you.
Oh, sweetie, you don't have to. You get your point across.
Okay, so fine, then say what you want to say then.
Peter.
I don't want to say anything. I've tried saying
Okay, so try again. Release yourself.
Oh, release you mean?
Yeah, fine, release me. Just say it. Just
fucking say it.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother! Do you understand? All I do is worry and slave.
This is me before
and
bedtime
you,
every night.
And all I get back is that fucking face on your face. So full of disdain and resentment and always so annoyed. Well, now your sister is dead. And I know you miss her. And I know it was an accident, and I know you're in pain, and I wish I could take that away for you. I wish I could shield you from the knowledge that you did what you did, but your sister is dead. She's gone forever. And what a waste. If it could have maybe brought us together or something. If you could have just said, I'm sorry, or faced up to what happened. Maybe then we could do something with this, but you can't take responsibility for anything. So now I can't accept, and I can't forgive. Because nobody admits anything they've done.
Yeah, that fucking face on your face is like top tier.
Yeah.
Like,
I
that's
think
something
it's
somebody would
honestly
say when they're in the
best
heat of the
writing we've
moment.
heard.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
exactly. Yeah,
face on your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob and I were. I don't know. Was that on the group chat?
No, you sent me the clips, and I happened to mention that because that's like one of my favorite lines.
Yeah.
Right. Because I had put it on number one, but the fucking face on your face. But like that would play for comedy in any other situation, right? I mean, and
You
there's
can
a
see like
bit
Jonah Hill
of a
saying it to Michael
wink.
Cera when they're in trouble or something. You know. Look at that
and
fucking
it would
face on
actually
your
be
face.
funny.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it might have been a quotable. It might have been something I said in middle school to my friend, like in a comedy aspect.
Yeah.
But it's so
Yeah.
well done here because it's what you say when you're so angry that you're not
Yeah.
bothered by trying to find the right words. You're just
Yeah.
spitting
Yeah.
out what's like spewing out of you like a fucking volcano
Yeah.
because you're so mad. And they did it. I thought they did I mean, obviously it's acted extremely well again, but
Mhm.
they did a great job of making her angry and kind of righteously because of the death of her daughter. Like you understand
Mhm.
where she's coming from, but it's at her own son. It's such a complicated situation that you're like, God damn, I don't know if she should have gone so hard. Because like she's
Yeah.
like, I can't forgive you at some point. And you like
Yeah.
people would do that, you know, if like at Thanksgiving, like, you know, somebody was
That'd be a real
responsible for the
awkward
death of another person in the family.
Oh,
you,
great.
you know
can
what I
pass
mean?
the
Yeah.
potatoes?
No,
Well, that's the thing.
because
So-
I'm sick of looking
so
at that
I'm-
fucking face on your fucking face.
Well, I'm going to add to that because after that speech, like after they play that, she sits down and like takes another bite of food. Like
Yeah.
that's like there's an old Louis C.K.
Yeah.
bit about that. Like,
Yeah.
like, can we just eat? We got to eat, right? Let's just you know.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the turkey.
Right.
Yeah.
We got to get that done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like okay, I said my piece. Let's fucking finish eating. All right, like
Yeah.
it's just that's brilliant. Because
Yeah.
like you said,
Yeah.
in the heat of the moment, you say things, and then you still have to go back to reality. You can't just end the scene. You can't just look at the camera and say end scene. You have to somehow continue with life, and they do that. And I think that was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was. All right, test number 4. This is the best dialogue or the best production, please. The best one.
Nice.
Don't fuck me here, Bob.
Test number 5, the best production.
I summarize this in 2 words: emotional perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna say it in the same way that Rob said it earlier in the thing. The score, the lighting, the miniatures, the themes, the emotions. They were all so well shot and portrayed by the actors, making this movie a cut above so many other in the genre.
Mm-hmm.
Though it's probably why most consider this more to be a family drama. I said trauma earlier, but family drama than a horror movie. And I'll say this about something later when I talk about what I'm watching. But like there was when they made, so this is a production thing. When they made the house, like the interiors of the house, they made them on a soundstage with the walls and furniture and everything else very mobile to mimic the miniatures. Like they wanted the scenes to be able to be broken down, moved, and adjusted just like the model. And I thought that really was captured. I thought, and every time they went to the model to show like the mom or the grandma, like nursing the child or the
creepily standing in the doorway.
Yes, exactly. I thought, oh God, I thought that was so good, and I thought that was a good bridge between scenes. But I also thought it was a good summary of like what the mom is really paying attention to, in terms of her interpretation of what's happening to get her emotional state, because you get her emotional state from her reactions and her speech, but then that just adds another layer. And I think she was the heart of the movie, and rightfully so, because she is the best actor in the movie. I mean, Gabriel Byrne's great, the kids were great.
Gabriel Byrne was good,
but she carried it. Yeah, she carried it more than anyone else did. Yeah, she was great. And I've said it before, she can do no wrong. I've seen her in a lot of things. Sixth Sense was what she's most known for, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I've seen her in a lot of things, and she can do no wrong. She's good in everything.
Yeah, she's really good. All right, let's go to test number 5. This is the best acting.
Test number 6. The best acting.
Why did I say it like that? Okay, number 1. I just don't hear that one very often. Yeah. This is Starved.
I have a lot of resistance to things like this, but I came to these a couple of years ago. Well, I was forced to come, and I guess it helped. So my mom was old, and she wasn't altogether there at the end, and we were pretty much estranged before that. So it really wasn't a huge blow, but I did love her. And she didn't have an easy life. She had DID, which became extreme at the end, and dementia. And my father died when I was a baby from starvation because he had psychotic depression. And he starved himself, which I'm sure was just as pleasant as it sounds. And then there's my brother. My older brother had schizophrenia. And when he was 16, he hanged himself in my mother's bedroom. And of course, his suicide note blamed her, accusing her of putting people inside him. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he had schizophrenia. So fantastic foreshadowing, because when you hear someone is schizophrenic, you think they're fucking crazy. So you don't put that on her.
This is a good example of subtle foreshadowing, because she literally she says it almost under her breath quickly before an aside. Like, that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
You don't smile into the camera with the focus all on you over a casket.
Yes.
That's not
for
subtle.
0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, I feel like I've already won. I feel like I could just take the belt and go home, because, like, you guys have given this movie so much credit. Even Rob the Dissenter is like, yeah, I do love this scene. Yeah, it's really good.
Dude, like,
this is like
I will get into
the
why.
9th time.
During the catch-all, I will get into why. I give it like 3 out of 5 stars, maybe 3.5 out of 5, like 60 to 70%. You know, all right, no, whatever.
70 from Rob, 100 from Chris, even though it's definitely not 100, and like a 98 from Bob. Mute Bob. Mute Bob. Mute Bob.
I don't know where that button is.
All right. Obviously, I'm kidding, but I mean, all the critics love this movie, and I'm one of them. You know, but she does a great job there.
Critic.
Great foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And great acting. Let's throw it to. I just want to. Okay. I before we do number 2, I want you. If you have your kids in the car and they're in the back and like they're not even listening, and you think it doesn't matter, still turn the volume down.
Yeah.
Even if they're like playing on an iPad or something, turn the volume down for number 2. If you got kids anywhere in the house, warning you for your own ears. Turn the volume down if you got your pods in.
Yeah.
This is number 2. Sorry about this, everyone. Yeah, thank you, Rob.
I just want to die. Oh, God. Oh, God. And there's no one. I just need to die. Charlie!
Anybody else getting a little turned on by that? Just by the audio?
That was really
All right.
appropriate.
Rob, I really was like, should I just like make a chubby joke? And I was like, I just can't do it.
I mean,
I just can't.
Sometimes it's just nice
you're
to
more
feel.
fucked up than me, man. Somebody is.
Sometimes it's just nice to feel anything, Chris.
Yeah, I guess.
Other than like rage and disgust.
Right.
I think that's what that was, though. Anyway,
that's what I felt.
Right.
Yeah. You're supposed to feel that, Rob. Maybe you should check your medications. Make sure there's enough going on there.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah, no, I wanted to apologize to everyone. That's not a pleasant thing to listen to. It's really not.
No.
You know why? Because
Imagine
it's like,
you're on your morning commute going, oh, new episode of The Worst Movie Ever Made that I found at www.theworstmovieevermade.com. Oh, wonder what this thing's going to be. And all their windows are down and they're in gridlock. It's, yeah, I just want to die.
Yeah, so we apologize for every scenario just like that one. Here's a scenario I'm painting for you. Imagine if your kid like had like old school iPod going on and there was only one track and they had been on a 5-hour car ride and you realized that the entire time they were just listening to that.
Yeah.
It's extremely upsetting to listen to. And again, I'm sorry, but you know why? Because it's extremely well done. I mean, I feel like most actors and actresses could maybe get there, get close to it, or somewhere in the range, but they're not willing to for fear of embarrassment.
Yeah.
You know? Like, but it works so well.
Also, she she actually expressed before this movie that she didn't want to do any more sci-fi horror thriller type movies. She wanted to just do comedy. She was kind of outgrown all that stuff. Yeah. And then she saw the screenplay and was like, all right, this is really good. I got to do this.
Yeah.
So credit to Toni Collette for putting her neck out for this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was right.
Yeah. Putting her neck out, huh?
Yeah.
I'd watch her do it at the end of the movie.
Yes.
All right, number 3. I promise this one we return to dialogue. Don't worry. No more screaming and ways that make Rob horny. This one is called Neutral View.
Jesus Christ, Annie. You're not planning on letting him see that, are you?
Who?
Peter. How do you think he's going to feel when he sees that?
What? It's not about him.
Oh, no?
No, it's a neutral view of the accident.
Yeah.
Are you coming down to dinner?
I'm making dinner.
No, I made the dinner. I came to get you. Come, stay, whatever you want. I don't really give a shit.
Oof.
Trouble in Paradise.
No, I'm with him. I'm with him at this point.
Yeah.
You're just like a regular dude, and this is the shit you're dealing with. Like, he is a saint in this movie. putting
Yeah,
up with
but-
all this shit.
Her mother died, and not a week later, her son killed her daughter. I can't say
Listen,
any
he
of
had
us.
to make dinner.
That's irredeemable.
Man, I was hoping all episode that I can get Rob to be speechless too, because he got me so hard earlier in this episode.
Touche, sir. Touche.
Yeah, no, obviously, Colette and Byrne going here head to head. I don't know. I don't often think of actors that way, but it's really interesting to think about them trying to out-act each other. And I think Byrne loses still in this movie. But he Usual Suspects we brought up a couple weeks ago, right? Because we were talking about whether it was good, and we've talked about it a couple times. He's one of the key characters in that movie, and he does a great job.
He's in both those, yeah, right.
So like I want to give him credit, but I'm not sure that he's able to overcome the just immovable force that she is in this movie.
Yeah.
The neutral view thing was another one of those just like a twinge of comedy thrown into a really horrible situation that otherwise would have been like a funny thing to say, but it just isn't. But there's a few instances of comedic elements that you just will not laugh at because the movie doesn't let you. And I love that. Where do you get that in movies? You don't see that much.
You know what it reminds me of, and this is a Simpsons reference, when Lisa tells Homer that Bart got a fake ID and rented a car and got lost trying to go to the World's Fair, which hasn't been active for 30 years. And the light changes on his face, he puts on his helmet and screams, and then he takes it off. He's like, I figured out what I'm going to do. I will give him the money to fly home, and I will murder him. You're so past the point of rage that you're calm again, and it's funny.
Yeah,
it's
right. Yeah, it is funny. Okay, let's throw it to Bob for fact or no fact.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, are you seeing another therapist now?
No. There is no one else.
Are you sure about that?
I am not seeing any other therapists.
Sounds like Bob Foolery.
There are no other therapists.
Fact or no fact?
All right, I feel like it's time to lean toward Rob on this one. So I called Hereditary unnecessary.
All right.
I
like it.
That's hard.
All right, so all these facts are dealing with the two young actors in the movie, which would be Alex Wolff and Amelia Shapiro. That would be Peter and Charlie. All right, first, so you got to find out which one is the lie. Here we go. Ari Aster requested that Alex and Millie go out to eat in character a few times.
Right.
Okay. Second one. Both Alex and Millie attended professional children's school together. Okay, third one. Millie Shapiro was the first audition tape that director Ari Aster saw. Okay, fourth one. Alex Wolff and Millie Shapiro also had to go out in character and buy Millie a sweatshirt in character. And the fifth one. Alex Wolff decided to go method for this film and insisted on being referred to as Peter during production.
Wow. I mean, it's
one's a lie.
Far be it for me to say that he has every right being this pretentious that early in his career for this movie. Okay, so I'm just imagining both scenarios, Bob. One of which has to be a lie, where they went out to eat in character, and then they also went out for a sweater. But how would that be? She'd just be like, he's like, you have a bong, and then that's it. He's just smoking weed, and she's just clicking and cutting bird head off at the dinner table. Okay, so maybe, I'm assuming one of those scenarios are true, but it's weird that you put them both on there if one wasn't a lie. What kind of school did you say? They both attended professional what school?
Children's school. It's professional children.
All right. Like they learn how to like send faxes and stuff. Like
I have no idea.
Like they're like professional children. Do they have to wear suspenders and like cufflinks?
Just because I'm a teacher, I don't know how every school works. But go ahead.
Okay, I thought you did. So sorry. First audition tape. I mean, like not outside the realm of possibility, but like that's a bit. That's one of those coincidences that's hard to believe because you probably got hundreds of tapes for each character. Buy a sweatshirt. Alex Wolff decided to go method instead of being referred to as Peter. God. The going out ones, I'm hung up on them because they don't have a lot of scenes together given the circumstances. Her being decapitated in the first act and all.
Right.
I don't think it's the first audition tape.
This might be a double down, Rob. Because you know these good movie episodes get lost to history anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I might double down because I feel like 1, 2, 4, and 5 are all kind of in. I feel like if one of any of those 4 is true, then all 4 of them are probably true. So I'm also going to go with the first audition tape was the one he chose. And this is going to be the Bob foolery of it that he chose another movie just like that. Like Get Out, the first audition tape from Get Out. It was like, some actor from Get Out was like, yeah.
Or it just occurred to me that the producers pared down like the hundreds of audition tapes to like 5 of them, and she was the first of the 5 that they thought was good for the role.
Could be. I'm still gonna double
3.
I think I've earned the fact that I don't do that. But go ahead and keep saying
you've broken us.
That I'm a complete douchebag.
We're really just projecting our own. We're really just projecting our own insecurities onto you, Bob. This is generations of trauma manifesting on a movie podcast.
No,
Ari Aster requested that they go out to eat in character a few times, and they would sit for up to 3 hours in silence while Millie wouldn't speak and Alex would try to get her to talk. That was a fact.
Oh.
Nice.
Okay. Both Alex Wolff and Millie Shapiro attended professional children's school, and they already knew each other before making this film.
All right.
Even though they were in, he had graduated and she was still in school.
All right.
Anna Taylor-Joy was the first audition tape that Ari Aster saw. No, that someone. Wait. I'm trying to think. That not Ari Aster. What's his name? Peter Eggers saw for The Witch.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I really fudged that one. Matter of fact, Millie Shapiro, that was an in-person audition only. He didn't do audition tapes. He did in-person auditions only. So I knew that was a lie.
All right.
So you guys both won.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes,
baby.
Alex Wolff and Millie Shapiro had to go out in character and buy Millie a sweatshirt, and Alex had to figure out what kind of sweatshirt she wanted because she wouldn't talk. And yes, Alex Wolff decided to go method, insisted on being referred to as Peter, and after filming his very last scene, he symbolically introduced himself to the crew as Alex. So yes, you are right, Rob. So pretentious.
What a man with unpure thoughts.
Rob, you nailed that on the head with your pretentious comment. Like, I was like, damn it, Rob got the last one already.
I smell my own, dude.
Nice.
Hey, that's 2 weeks in a row. Good job, you guys. You bested me.
With less odds because we doubled down. Like we only had a 20% spread. 20%.
Honestly, I don't know how that worked, but good job.
Yeah.
Like I said, if one was true, it was likely that they were all.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's throw it to the catch-all.
I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide.
Are you catching all of this?
How could you have done this?
Should I just do my explanation of why I didn't like this movie first, just so you could? Okay.
Please.
So you're right. There is There is subtle foreshadowing, like at the grief counseling when she has the aside. But what I didn't like, and I'm going to explain why I think you like it, Chris, and why I don't, and why Bob's on the fence. They introduce the chocolate and the nuts thing and the no EpiPen thing immediately, so you know it's going to come into play. You don't know what's going to come into play, but you know something terrible is going to happen because she goes out again and they don't bring the fucking EpiPen. If it's such a central concern to the family dynamic, why didn't they bring an EpiPen? Therefore, okay, let's go to this high school party where it's mostly just underage people drinking and smoking weed. Oh, there's a baking corner. Oh, they're making cake. Oh, she likes chocolate because she's eating it in every scene up to that point. Oh, that chocolate probably has nuts in it. She's allergic. Boom. She cuts a head off a bird. She loses her head. Wow. They do the clicking in the sound design throughout the movie so that when Peter does the clicking, it's like, oh, that's the prophecy. She's got to possess his body. The Joan lady, they spend so much time on that doormat that you know it's going to come into play later.
Exactly.
And then I will show you when I saw her in the attic and she saw the other one. I did one of these. And I was in the room by myself. I did it to nobody in particular. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
And I didn't like her because she just thrusts herself into this woman's life and starts talking about seances unprompted. Like that's not going to be a major point of contention later. So like, those things bother me. Structurally, I was pissed off by that kind of like the whole Chekhov's gun. If there's a gun in the first act, you got to use it by the third type of thing. I just feel like for all the big moments that should have been like these like mind-altering, like life-altering reveals, I just didn't feel it. And here's why I think it didn't affect you similarly, is because you don't like horror. You've gone on record saying you don't like deliberately scaring yourself or like upsetting yourself when you could watch a bunch of other things. So I'm guessing aside from like the classic slashers like Halloween, Friday the 13th, and like maybe a couple Saw movies, you probably only watch like 3 or 4 horror movies a year. I watched about I watched about 30 in the last month. So like I just know the tropes, I think, better to the point where I was like, oh, you're doing that. You're doing that. And like, not to say like I know more about horror
like
than
Gary
you, but
Busey as like a gingerbread man.
Ginger Dead Man, first of all.
Ginger Dead Man.
Dude, seriously though, Blood-Sucking Bastards with Pedro Pascal had a better third act reveal than Hereditary did. I'm sorry, it just did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to defend the end. I'm not.
All right.
I said it last week before we watched the movie together. That the end is too much.
I think if you're a little cynical, if you're a little cynical about tropes and certain kinds of foreshadowing like me, it'll take you out of the movie. But since this is not your preferred genre, I don't think it had that effect on you as it would be had on anybody, because it's
atmospherically, this movie wins.
It's fucking phenomenal,
overall.
dude. Like, I loved everything. I loved everything about this movie, except I felt like Aster was just like, I don't think they're going to pick up on the nut thing. I better lay it on real heavy. I felt insulted.
Well,
so
this is where I think we all agree. Aster actually wrote this originally without the occult and the demonic possession in mind. That was the part of the story.
I heard they were re-edits.
It was everything. It was everything aside from that we love that was in the movie. And then he said, you know what? That's not going to sell. And I want to say he actually pitched it and it didn't sell. And he added all those elements and it worked. So I want to say he wanted to make the movie that we all three of us wanted. And then he added things to make it more commercially acceptable. And he wins. I mean, he does win. He got like a 5-picture deal, and he's wealthy, and people know his name and not ours.
Yeah, I would watch it. I would watch it again. I enjoyed many aspects of this movie, but there's just I felt like he was kind of beating the subtext over your head just a little bit.
Well, that's the thing. I watched it for the second time right now, and I'm not happy. I had to skip over some things. I'm like, this may be annoying. This may be annoyed. This may be annoyed. I'm going past it, and that tells me right now that I'm not going to watch it a third time. But I'm glad I watched it a second time to know that I don't need to watch it a third time.
I think my test for whether a movie is successful, and I've said this on the pod before, is if they draw out the desired effect in you. And I know they absolutely did that for like a good solid hour and a half. I mean,
pure fucking dread.
Foreboding and dread. And and especially now that I'm a parent, it made me want to fucking fry at points, and I was just like, I don't want to live as a human anymore because being a human is a curse. And the movie just did think to me, and it's that makes it a good movie in my mind.
Yeah.
Well, this goes back to our original point of comparing good movies. When I watched Memento the first time, I was just completely destroyed. I loved it. And then I showed it to my daughter when she was like 16 or 18, and she loved it. And then I watched it for a third time with you guys critically, and I saw it in a whole new light and didn't dislike it anymore. I liked it for more reasons. And that is the mark of a movie that I am always going to go back to. If I could watch it 3 times. Yeah.
I feel the same way about basketball.
Of course you would.
All right, let's roll to our catch-all.
Yeah, go ahead.
So number 5 for me, Amazing Dollhouse to live action transition right in the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're immediately
on
to, like, you said about that they tried to make it like a seamless I don't want to say transition again, but like a like the world of the living in the dollhouse world were so linked in this movie.
Yeah, they were.
And they give that to you. They give that to you immediately. And I think it's a great way to set the tone for the movie going forward.
Yeah.
I agree. This is a knock. If you are a family member of somebody with a life-threatening allergy, you know the drill. And driving them without calling 911 is not part of the drill, high or not high.
Yeah.
He fucked up.
That's fair. I also have
911 would not have told him to drive. 911 would have said, "Stay where the fuck
stay where you are, elevate her, or like do whatever
you can help her. Yeah, faster than you can get her a hospital."
Yes.
I also have a couple of knocks on this movie in my catch-all because I'm catching everything. I'm trying anyway. My number 4 is he should have smelled his father's burning body. And what about fire alarms?
The fire alarms are probably in the same spot the authorities were when a boy decapitated his sister while driving under the influence, then went home and went to sleep, and no one investigated it or looked into.
There's no alarms in a model house that's made out of models, miniatures, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, but like, why didn't he smell like he should have gone down there like, ooh, like mom's making chicken or something, but it's just that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that. And there were no alarms. I thought it wasn't realistic. Also, there wasn't like the walls didn't catch on fire or anything else. A whole human burned.
It was a demonic fire, so those are very isolated.
Yeah, that's right. They don't catch on wood.
Right. Yeah, because why would
they only catch on Irish skin.
I guess in defense of the movie, Chris, Peter was already in like a borderline catatonic state, so he probably just overlooked it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
perfect.
All right,
Tony Collette
made the movie that much better.
This is one of mine. Tony Collette and Alex Wolff. That's the guy that played the kid that played Peter. They share a birthday, November 1st.
Oh wow.
No way.
Exactly. Who cares? Move on. Go ahead.
He smoked a bong or a bowl or whatever out of his window, right?
Yeah.
And you see him doing that, and then from outside you see him, like you see his window as he blows the smoke out his window. Any musical cues without any prompting whatsoever. The very, very corner down where my hand is, a moisturized breath is barely visible in the corner of the screen. They do not tell you anything else, but there are people from the ritual outside his house watching him do his shit days before the consequential, and there is no prompting whatsoever. Very subtle foreshadowing. Very subtle cue. Just saying. Really nice.
That's what makes me think that she intentionally ate the cake and she intentionally put her head out the window. or if not intentionally, but at least under the influence of forces that aren't her.
Well,
Also,
we
did
know
they
that
put the
because
deer-
we know that because she saw the same thing that he does before he's demonically
But
possessed, like the wave.
Did they put the dead deer? Did they put the dead deer in the road so he would swerve? And
Yes.
if they did, what if he
Probably.
had swerved the other way? What if he
Yeah,
had swerved
you're
the
right.
other way?
So like in Dumb and
Well, he-
Dumber,
he
we're like,
swerves the
what
other
if they
way,
shot
he's
you in
going
the
into
head?
Yeah,
I know,
right.
but there was no traffic. There was no traffic.
Yeah.
Right, but your instinct is to swerve the other way.
It's a swerve
I
into the
get that.
breakdown lane. Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I had the same issue today. There was like this giant pothole, and I swerved toward the outside of the road so I wouldn't go into other
Yeah.
traffic.
That's a good reflex to have, I'd argue.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my thing.
And which occult member was
Um,
in the high school that like made the nut cake? I mean, you could trace it back. I get it.
Yeah.
All right, so my third one, or are we on the third one now? Are we? Oh,
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
but,
it's-
but by golly, mom wanted her to go. Maybe that makes her complicit.
Oh, yeah. The mom forced
Yeah.
her to go.
Yeah, and she
Oh,
knew the nut
well,
cake would be at the party.
well, he even said that later in the movie, right? He said that.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
When they were having a epic argument, he's like, it was your
Yeah.
idea in the first place. Like,
Right,
you
yeah.
did kind of drive your sister into a telephone pole.
Yeah, but you knew there'd be a chocolate cake with D's nuts on them. No.
Yeah.
So this is an
Chekhov's
Easter egg.
nuts.
This is a director's Easter egg. Ari Aster, at around the 1 hour and 23-minute mark, he was the voice on the phone calling Annie about her exhibit at the Archer Gallery. That was him.
That is cool. That's a good note. On the voicemail. Yeah.
Interesting, if nothing else.
My number 2 is another knock on the movie. Here you go, guys. Did he really uncontested parking spot right in front of the party house?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's a
I
pretty good
hated
spot.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like right up.
I'm just telling
right
you,
in
like,
front of the
everything
door,
is
and there weren't any.
everything in
other
this movie is just a little too convenient. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, it was all set up by the occult. They
Yeah.
it was the same smiling guy that was looking at the 13-year-old in the funeral, and he was like directing cars and valeting and like making sure.
Yeah.
that the curbs
He
are
hands him the
clean.
keys, like, here's the keys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, my last one. The special effects team actually had to learn how to do some effects that they had never done before, such as making the candle light itself. If you remember that scene in the seance.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Oh,
I thought that was neat that he was like, listen, I have a special effect that I want, and you got to figure out how to make it happen. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think that's brave of a director.
Yeah, agree. My number 1, Daddy.
I have a sore throat. Sorry. All right.
I mean, but we've already done it. Is the mom guilty? Is she psychotic, naive, broken, involved, forgetful, idiotic? I'm not sure. All of these things, everything. Did she know the nuts were in the cake? Did she send her off to her doom on purpose so the beheading would happen because they threw the deer in the road? And then she knew she'd be like chicken bone wiring herself at the end of the movie?
Takeaway.
I doubt it.
My takeaway was she was so close to it due to her upbringing with the mother who's orchestrating everything. I think she is equally unaware as everybody else, but she's close enough to her mother's like bloodline to know something's amiss, but she can't put her finger out. She can't articulate it. So I think I don't think she's complicit. I don't think she's forcing the hand. I think she's a pawn in the game just as much as her kids are. And I think she's the only one that has the wherewithal, knowing her own family history better than anybody else, to know that like something's off.
Yeah.
All right, fair. All right, for the sake of time, let's throw it to what we're watching.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious
We're
what
pretty
you
good on
guys are
time.
watching other than videos about.
Government secrets.
This is what we're watching.
All right.
All right, I've mentioned this before, but season 3 of Invincible is out. It's a Prime Video
Oh,
thing.
I gotta
It's
watch
like
that
a
show.
American anime. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fucking amazing. It's gory in the way that you want. It is well told. It grips
Yeah.
you emotionally, not as well as Hereditary does, but it's a really good show. And I watched Tombstone. You know, the
Okay.
old West Tombstone.
The movie?
All right.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I've seen that's probably my third or fourth viewing, and I find comfort. So I'm a movie buff for sure, but I watch new movies less than I watch old ones that I've seen.
Yeah.
I will freely admit I love watching a movie that I'm comfortable with. Tombstone's one of them. It's my third or fourth, maybe fifth viewing. I don't know. But you know, there's a lot of great actors in it. It's a little bit ridiculous, I will freely admit, but you've got Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, what's his name, that plays God in The Big Lebowski, Sam.
Oh, Sam Elliott.
He's Sam Elliott. Thank you. Bill Paxton is in it. I mean, a lot of great crew in the movie trying to do their best western. It's pretty good. It's not the best movie ever made, but it is fun to watch. So those were my two. Bob, I'll throw it to you. Go for it.
All right. I went back to 2011. An Iranian movie called A Separation.
Okay.
This won Best Foreign Language Film at the Oscars in 2011. I didn't even know that. And when I read about this movie, I'm like, it sounds awesome. And then I saw that, and I'm like, okay. I only saw that after I finished it. So it's about a couple on the verge of a divorce. That's like the opening scenes.
Yeah.
The husband of the said couple is caring for his aging father suffering from Alzheimer's.
Right.
And their 11-year-old daughter and the woman hired to care for their grandfather while the father's at work. Like, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
This is the best movie I've seen in quite some time. It didn't feel like anyone was acting. Like, it felt so real and touching and at times funny and emotional and sad and tragic and all the feelings. Like, 5 stars out of 5. Like, you gotta see this. It's called A Separation. I downloaded it illegally, but it's easy to find because it's so old at this point. So good. If you're okay with subtitles. Anyway, then I watched something extremely new. It's the newest movie I've ever seen. This came out in 2025. It's Lee Wannell's Wolfman.
Okay,
so Lee Wannell made Saw, the first Saw, and he made The Invisible Man, which I absolutely loved. Okay?
Yeah.
Love that movie. He directed this reimagining of the classic Wolfman tale. Now,
all right.
Here's the thing. If you are a fan of horror movies, don't expect a horror movie. I like the direction.
Fantasy.
I like the direction that it took. I like the emotional toll on the family. I like the choice of practical effects over CGI, right? But they didn't lean heavily on effects. This is not a horror movie. It's a family drama. It's a family trauma. It's a family tragedy.
How about that?
It is not a horror movie. So if you're into like a little bit of monster, a little bit of horror, but mostly family drama, check this out. Otherwise, skip it. Yeah.
All right. I'll be really quick. So, I watched Upgrade on your recommendation after I was talking about Hardcore Harry. Fucking cool ass movie. I
Really
describe
cool, right?
it as RoboCop meets The Crow, because the guy's avenging his familiar someone, and he's infused with cybernetics. So, but I mean,
it's fucking awesome though. Yeah.
After that initial comparison,
really
it completely does its own thing. It's total cyberpunk. It's cool. It's a cyberpunk revenge story about a man who becomes a quadriplegic, but then like can kick some serious ass.
It's awesome.
I finally watched Knox Goes Away. It's a Michael Keaton vehicle. It's like it's not his directorial debut because he's done a couple like in like past decades, but he directs it as well. Yeah. It's about a contract killer who discovers that he has a rapid I forget the exact name, but it's like Alzheimer's times 9/11. It's like he gets his diagnosis, and they're like, "You have like 3 weeks to get your affairs in order because you're not going to know who the fuck you are." And basically, his estranged son comes to him because he finds out his 16-year-old daughter was like impregnated by like a 30-year-old like neo-Nazi kind of guy. He goes to the guy's house to put the fear of God into him, and he ends up like stabbing him like 90 times. And he knows his dad, who he doesn't know has dementia yet, is really good at covering tracks and like, you know, doctoring scenes to make it look like an accident. So you have Michael Keaton, who doesn't remember what he had for breakfast, even though his breakfast is still in front of him, like going to crime scenes and like trying to make everything right. And
that sounds kind of cool.
It's super impressive because his mental faculties are slipping, but when he has to be the certain type of person that he's trained himself to be over like his entire adult life, he goes into fucking go mode and like locks in. But then he doesn't.
The
all muscle memory
behavior.
Yeah, it's muscle memory and instinct takes over, even though he's not fully lucid, and it's a really cool watch. And then I watched one more thing for me, but it might be for the show. I rewatched So I Married an Axe Murderer with Mike Myers.
Yeah,
kind of holds up.
Yeah,
it kind of holds up, but it's also very much a product of the '90s. It's one of his better movies. That's not saying much, but
no. There's not a lot of good ones.
Yeah. That's it.
All right, cool. Let's throw it to back credit names.
And you wrote him as Heretic. Yeah, I think you meant Hereditary. I just wanted to point that out real quick.
Well, I didn't want to write Hereditary names. It didn't make any sense.
It does.
Lars Knudsen.
Yeah.
Convict Quest. Miso Tunks. Jennifer Lane. The Flatbush Zombies. And Rocky Dickey.
How are the Flatbush Zombies not number one?
Because the guy's name was Rocky Dickey.
Okay.
You don't get a Rocky Dickey on bad credit names every week, you know?
No, you don't.
All right, let's throw it to the movie comparison that we don't have because we're not doing one.
All right. So, we just skipping that? Or am I playing the bumper, or what are we doing?
I mean, we tend to, but it's okay if you don't want to.
I resign today.
It's the last time we'll hear it. So.
Yeah, true.
None of this makes sense. Let's just compare the movies. All right.
All right. Team 5, guys. Great job.
Yeah.
What works well? I think a lot of this shit works well. Dialogue, amazing. Production, emotional perfection, according to Bob. Wow. Sure sounds like. Acting, how'd you guys feel about that?
Phenomenal. Superb is the word I've been using.
Great acting.
So, and you guys all still saying it's not great. Okay. Demerits, you want to give it like the foreshadowing bullshit? Something like that?
Yeah, foreshadowing bullshit.
Foreshadowing bullshit.
I came into this giving it a 3 out of 5, which is like a 60%. I'd put it in like the 70s, 75 territory after kind of hashing it out with you guys. I don't think it's like the scariest movie. I think Longlegs did a better job with the same kind of vibe than this movie did. Yeah.
Well,
okay. Well,
I don't know. Yeah.
It sounds like I got Bob on our side. Whatever. All right. How about next week, fellas? You know what won the poll?
Adam Sandler falls in love with a woman, but it's not actually a woman. It's a golden retriever or something. Punch drunk puppies.
No, this one is called Going Overboard.
This is early Sandler, right?
This is like first Sandler. I'm not sure if it's literally his first movie, but it's like 1989 or something. And
it's pre-SNL.
He is an aspiring stand-up comedian who goes on a yacht cruise to try to make his way into stand-up comedy or something. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the trailer. And if you just want to, like, do me a favor, go and I'm talking to you, audience. Go and watch the trailer. And if you don't want to listen to us make fun of this movie, then you're not a core audience, and you can go away because it is perfect. Worst movie ever
Adam
made.
Sandler has it all. A girlfriend, a full bank account, but he's gonna find out.
That he is a tiny wiener. Except for in like 2 or 3 of his movies, where he makes sure that you know that he has like a pretty decent sized wiener.
He's well endowed. Yeah.
And he's super strong and really funny.
Why do we always
All
talk
right,
about
anyway.
whenever we bring up Adam Sandler, we always end up talking about like his slot getting rattled around or the size of his penis. Why is that?
Because I hate him and I'm jealous. And he probably has a bigger wiener than me. Because I have a small wiener. I think.
Nice.
That's what it is.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway,
now we can heal.
Yeah, now I can heal. Next week we're doing Going Overboard. Rob, why don't you plug us and throw it to Bob's last word, and we'll do the goodbyes.
Yeah, you can find us at www.theworstmovieevermade.com. We are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, we are on Spotify, we are on YouTube, we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Google Play. We're on all the things. You can email us, you can talk to us. We post stories, we post movie clips, we post polls, like the one we just had 3 Adam Sandler movies in, and you all chose Going Overboard. Thank you for that. I can't wait.
By a landslide, by the way.
Yeah. All right, so that's www.theworstmovieevermade.com. It takes you to a little link tree page, and you just hit the buttons that correspond with your desires, and those needs will be fulfilled.
Have we checked the email today?
Yeah. I didn't see anything.
Okay. I was
it's mostly just questions from Quora going like, if my neighbor's house smells like marijuana, should I call the cops? From Quora Digest.
Yeah, Quora Digest.
Hey, that's it.
I was just wondering because somebody threatened to email us, so I was wondering if
no, not yet.
Someone that I know actually did it, but I'm not giving them any credit if they didn't do it. So
show yourselves, you fucking cowards. Bob, what's your last word?
Oh, see if this comes through.
Oh yeah, I heard it.
All right.
I don't know how to write it. I write it down every time.
I'm just gonna go regular theme song because the finale. Or you know what? No, I'm in a good mood tonight, so let's just do. All right, that's a wrap, guys. See you next week. Going Overboard. Ow!
Hi, Joe. It's cool. Thanks, Jermaine.
Bye, Joe. It's cool.
Yeah.